So the tag for this particular video is what's on my bookshelf that isn't books. And I haven't got very many books, as I think I've probably told you already, that we're living in a rental house while our house is being renovated. And all of our stuff from the last 10 years while we've been traveling is in storage. And all the stuff that we had to put in storage prior to this 10 years of posting overseas is still in storage. So I think we have an entire 40-foot container full of our rubbish that is probably pretty moth-eaten and possibly entirely out of date by now, at least in terms of the technology. And we might not fit into our clothes, or they've been eaten by moths or God knows what else. Anyway, this is my excuse apropos of my bookshelf, which has almost nothing in it. And so what I am going to show you is the bookshelf, which is all I have in terms of books at the moment. But not particularly the books, but all the other crap that gets accumulated on there. And the hashtag, if you will, I don't really understand hashtags, but the hashtag, if you will, is what crap do you have on your bookshelf, which is equivalent to the crap that I have on my bookshelf. So I'm now going to flick this around and show you my bookshelf. That is the full extent of my bookshelf. There it is. There's all my books. There's all my books, pretty much all my books, and all the other crap that's got accumulated on this bookshelf, which I was given by someone because, like I say, we're in a rental house. This rental house had no furniture in it. So we've kind of accumulated as much free stuff as we can. And on the top, we've got, so these are random crap. I've got these blank postcards, which I'm sticking stickers. You get stuff, the stuff you buy is covered in stickers. And so I'm making these postcards, which are, covered in the crap that you get sent. Like, your fruit gets these little stickers all over them. And so I'm making these postcards to celebrate all this crap. I'm quite proud of them. And then we have, I found this was being given away on the street, this pen holder. And then I'm a big fan of Victorian bottles, and my particular favourite are Cod's bottles. And I'm going to make a video about Cod's bottles. You can hear they've got a marble inside, and they've got a whole history, which is fascinating. And there's a Japanese fizzy drink you can buy in most supermarkets in England and in the United States and probably other places, which still has this Cod's bottle, marble bottle sealing system. And there is a scene from one of my favourite Tintin books, The Black Isle, when Tintin's off to the island where the evil Professor Muller is. I think, I won't give it away, but they're doing naughty things there. You should read it. That's my bass amp. There's my bass. I'm trying to learn how to play it, and I'm making some progress. Right, and so here are all my books. Just quick point outs. I've listened to the audiobook, I've never read this one. It's long and it's turgid and it's not as good as Great Expectations, but bits of it really shine. I mean, Dickens really could write. This I want to do a review on at some point, but I've got to read it again. I want to write a science fiction version of The Tempest. I was given this by my daughter because she had to do Macbeth for her schoolwork. These are really great books, No Fear Shakespeare, because they have a kind of, idiot guide to the lingo, which I need. What else have we got here? So anyway, what's on here that shouldn't be here? I love charades. Always have passport photos available. And then for some unknown reason, I've become obsessed by Matchbox cars. They were selling them for I think there was $5 for $5, so $1 each. And so I kind of went mad and bought the little Matchbox ones. And I have a very soft spot for Land Rovers. This is a Defender. This is a twin cab Defender. And there was actually one like this in Maputo, exactly the same colour, not with the fancy wheels or anything. And oh boy, it's a terrific vehicle. And Mozambique is the place where you need a four-wheel drive car for sure. We had a wonderful, we didn't have this thing. This is a great car, although it has a solid rear axle and it has independent front suspension. And I've seen a video of one of them rolling on that famous track in wherever it is in the United States. So they're not the super best cars for off-road driving. But we had this lovely Prado, lifted Prado. It was lifted by about 8 inches. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put it in this video. And it was so much fun to drive, especially out on the untarred roads in Mozambique, and there's a lot of those. So it was a really useful vehicle. And that I found this just somebody was just throwing it away on the street around here. I love it. It's a big. I don't know did this really exist as a station wagon? Was it a real American station wagon, or was it just for the movie? Anyway, it's absolutely zonking vehicle. I love it. It's brilliant, wonderful car. And so that's all of the crap on that shelf. And on this shelf, the kind of crap really is taken over. Adult vitamins, of course. And there's a lovely picture of my younger daughter. And I've got all of these blank dice because I'm always planning, and I'm going to make games involving them, like a game of cricket or some kind of Dungeons and Dragons game with these dice, but I've never got around to it. Here, these little cards, these blank cards that I'd write all the monsters on, and then you'd have to get monsters and you'd fight them with the dice and everything. And I kind of done 1 or 2 games, but I've never really taken them beyond the kind of draft phase. Here's a funny thing we found when we went back to our house before it was starting to be renovated. We found Ida's, this is her old iPod, and the battery's completely shot, but if you plug it in, it still works, and the battery lasts for about 15 minutes. I wish I could replace the battery because it's a wonderful old thing. It's really great. Maybe sell it on eBay for a little bit. And then there's some books in the back. There's a lovely Lord of the Rings thing I picked up for next to nothing. A collection of all 4 books, including The Hobbit. And then this is a book I came across, which Alien Clay, is that Alien Clay? Yeah, which just somebody had left outside their house in the UK, that one. And I was like, yeah, I'll have that. And then these are my moustaches for my French accent character, which I'm not sure I can be bothered to do anymore. And this is something that Ida and I treated ourselves. When these first came out, we were like, you know what, we've never bought us a piece of new tech ever. And we treated ourselves by buying each of us one of these. And of course, they ended up never really catching on. And so one of them got busted when I dropped it on the floor. But this one, again, the same problem with this one that we have with the iPad is that the battery's completely shot that you put in there. But it runs off the mains, and so it can work. But the price of the mini disc is so flipping outrageous that, yeah, I'm not going to use it. I did, in fact, need it because the Prado was an import from Japan, and it was of the year when the mini discs first came out, and I think it must have been a Japanese invention, the mini discs? Somebody will know. And it had a bloody mini disc player in it and nothing else. And so the only way we could actually get music to play in that car was by buying mini discs off eBay, and they were freaking expensive. There's Tune In, which is like a kind of a Beatles biography, and it's only like the first 3 years. I don't know what, when they were wee bands all the way through to like 1962 or 3. It's enormous, and apparently there's going to be 3 of them, these books. But I just love the Beatles so much that I'm going to have to read that. And then there's some other books there. And what else? Yeah, there's a whole pile of books here that I need to, I want to do some work on, some videos. Right, here's some more dice. I love dice. I came across these in a little comic shop. Where was it now? But I can't, if I go into a shop like that, tiny one, it's an independent shop, I always feel I have to buy something. And there's these lovely, they're like blood dice. You can see they've got kind of like red streaks in them. They're kind of like blood dice. I really love those. So yeah, anything to do with games. And there's my books. You know, my plan for these is that I am going to get a little stall at some book fair or some local event and just try and sell them cash in hand to whoever will buy them. That's my next plan, to try and get a few copies out there. And there's our supply of gin bottles, which we collect. And then we've got I've got 2 speakers, which I'm not. This is sorry, not speakers, microphones. This big old microphone my daughter gave me because she's not using anymore. And I'm not using it either because I'm using the microphone on the phone now. And I just use the microphone on my computer, on my MacBook Air, and it seems to work perfectly fine. Here are just some bits and pieces, and this is a little treasure that we got for our daughters. We found it at some yard sale, and it works. It's a freaking Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All Game Boy Color, and it belonged, please return to Angela Jenkins. Yeah, I guess we got it off her. I think we bought it from some where's the actual, a yard sale? Yeah, probably a yard sale. Where's the thing? I can't, is it in the, oh, here it is, right. Which pocket? Here it is. It's a freaking Game Boy Color. And it does work. I think, can we get it? Let's see if I get it. Where's the on button? Can't remember where the on button is. On the side somewhere. There it is. Look at that. It freaking works. Oh, man. My daughters play the Powerpuff Girls. It does suffer that problem that it doesn't have any backlighting. But yeah, a wonderful artifact, which still works and which I've played once or twice. And so yeah, that's my bookshelf, and that's all the other crap that is on it. And so there you go. Thanks for watching.